Welcome back to the Patriots Clubhouse. We came back from like a watch party, just me doing it only. But now that we got the squad back in together, welcome back, Austin. And today we're going to recap day one of free agency. Well, technically legal tampering. Free agency doesn't start until like Wednesday at 4 p.m. EST. But a lot of things happen. But as usual, let's see how the guys are doing. As always, I'm your host, DTN, aka Dow, and always I got Andy and Austin with me. So starting with you, Andy, how was day one of legal tampering?
It was interesting. I mean, it was kind of a wild day. Some things that I didn't expect, like when K9 to the Chiefs came out. I agree with you, Austin. I was like, oh shit, that's gonna be a shot in the arm. They need to come back. On the Rams the Rams got, what was it? Trent McDuffie. So their defense is going to be spruced up from last year. But I mean, like we've said, some of these playoff teams, I mean, the Bills haven't done a whole lot aside from DJ Moore. The Eagles haven't done much. The Broncos have done hardly anything.
Lions barely only got one signing, and the Vikings barely did any.
The Lions got rid of Anzalone, too. I forget where he went.
But, Buccaneers.
Oh, thank you. And by the way, Otten re-upped by Tampa Bay and Alec Pierce re-upped by Indianapolis. Those were... I mean, I'm not surprised Tampa was, had their wits about them and didn't let Cade Otton walk. I mean, it does kind of surprise me that the Colts did the same thing with Pierce, although they have Lou Anarumo out there. So, but it was a day I would hoped would be more eventful on the Pats side, but like you said, though, it's only legal tampering. So, I mean, we've still got a month and a half to the draft. So it's definitely more of a waiting game than last season was. In a way, that's not surprising, considering we're so bad in 2024.
Yeah, not surprised whatsoever. I wasn't expecting like what it was last season, where we made huge splashes and make so many like signings. But before we get started, how are you, Austin?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Like you guys, I think I expected a little bit more out of the Patriots today in free agency. I guess we should have tempered expectations because of how explosive last year's free agency was, with all the excitement of Vrabel coming in, and we have a lot of draft capital, and we had all this money, and like we still do have a good amount of money, but we went crazy last year, and I feel like people think every year has to be like that. So I think we need to just like take a breath, relax. Like, just because we didn't sign people today doesn't mean we're not going to be able to sign people like moving forward. It's just, I mean, there's a lot of people still available that I'm sure we'll get into later, but I would like them to like hurry up and sign some people. Probably at the top of my list is like Jalen Hawkins. Like, we need to bring him back, in my opinion, or like a replacement. Like, I don't know.
Re-up Gonzo too. I mean, it's not time to start shredding the front office just yet.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is the Gonzo contract, and seeing who else we already have that we want to re-sign. But the issue is outside of Gonzo, it's like you look at all the people that we cut or like let walk, or however you want to say, like Tonga, Diggs, Tavai, and then you look at who we brought in, and it's
not Hooper. No, did we let Hooper go?
Yeah, we did let
Hooper go. I
thought so. Sugar piece.
So you look at like this list of like, I don't know, it's like 9 people that walked, and now it's, we only brought 2 people in, and the 2 people that we brought in aren't at any of the positions that we let people walk. So it's just like, yeah, we're getting better again. I mean, Kayvon Chason left. I feel like Draymond is like the replacement to that, and I thought we got
Chason's out? What, really?
Well, he didn't sign anywhere, but he's a free agent. Like, and I feel, to me, the Draymond Jones signing was a tell that they're just not interested in bringing back Chason, in the sense of, we got Draymond for around $13 million a year, and I think Chason's market is somewhere in the 18 million a year market.
What was Tavai's? No, actually, no, different position. Don't mind me.
No worries. And obviously we got a much needed fullback, so like that's great. We'll get into that. But yeah, we got a lot of work to do to be better. I thought us going to the Super Bowl would really bring in some of this top talent. Really, we love Drake May. We want to get behind Vrabel and everything that Josh McDaniels is cooking up on that offense, and it's just kind of like it's like the what is the meme? I can't remember the movie. It's John Travolta, Pulp Fiction, and he's just like staring around, like not knowing what the hell's going on. Like that's literally all Pats fans today. But yeah,
I know it was like but you see, the thing is, Austin. I'm sorry we haven't really gotten going with our substance yet, but I just want to say here, it did tick me off when it's like, okay, it is not on the Pats that K. Dotton is not here, or that Alec Pierce is not here, or that those two O linemen, Dow, whom you mentioned, are not here, Edwards being one of them. Those guys just decided to stay put, and the pass catchers especially, it's like, you freaking idiots. It's like the same thing I said about Chris Godwin last year. Although, granted, we didn't, May was less of a known quantity then, but now it's like, okay, you've got this quarterback who made the Super Bowl, who, close to led the league in passing yards, nearly won MVP, and you still want to stay put with Daniel Jones and Baker Mayfield? I mean, not that especially Mayfield's a bad quarterback, but hey, like I said about Otten, better the devil you know than maybe devil that you don't.
Yeah, I mean, I can at least justify like Otten wanting to go back, because you look at it like he was probably given some inside information that Mike Evans is not coming back. So he's thinking, ooh, okay, I get to be the big target, essentially. Like I'm the tallest guy in that receiver room. I'm going to be the red zone threat. Okay, that makes sense. The Alex Pierce, like, I don't know, that's an insane
I did not understand that. It's like Godwin last year.
Oh,
it was like Chris Godwin last year, and then the year prior was like Calvin Ridley. So I was like, I've seen this, like the same thing with every top wide receiver. It's like one player goes to a shitty team. Like, for example, Ridley to the Titans. What happened? They didn't make the playoffs. Godwin back to the Buccaneers. They barely made any production, and you're basically drafting another wide receiver. For what? Because you basically had two wide receivers that went down. But what pisses me off more is that not all some of these players that we want, they got overpaid. Like, for example, Zion Johnson, when he went to the Browns, they gave him a shitload of money that I don't think it's worthy, and yet he was a former first-round pick. But what's laughable is Malik Willis to the Dolphins.
Oh, jeez.
After you cut Tua while stuck with a $99 million dead cap within a range of 2 years.
But the weird thing is, Malik Willis was Greg Rosenthal's number one free agent. Like, how?
That is a good question.
How? Like,
he only had 6 starts total.
Jeez. Like, yeah, he wasn't bad, but it's like over Kate Otten, over Alec Pierce, over list guy here.
Trey Hendrickson.
Trey Hendrickson. Myles Garrett's not a free agent. But yeah, I mean, why did you have him number one? I'm sorry. When I saw that this morning on Good Morning Football, I was like,
it's like the Justin Fields move all over again.
Yeah.
But let's get started with the show, guys. If you haven't already, please make sure as you're coming in, hit the thumbs up button on your way in. And please make sure that you hit the subscribe button. It's the best way to help us support the channel. Share this with all your friends, and then turn on the notifications for future shows like this. And then obviously participate in the chat. So let's start off with the two big boys like we mentioned. Let's start off with Draymond Jones and then get to Reggie Gilliam. I was not surprised about the Draymond Jones, because I knew that we wanted Draymond Jones back when the NFL trade deadlines happened last season. Thankfully, we waited till free agency. And yet, this is what I don't understand, boys. people were like, why can't we like trade for Draymond Jones? The best thing, we signed Draymond Jones in a sense that, one, we got him for free, and two, we're saving draft capital. So, Austin, do you think it's a great move for the Patriots to wait to get Draymond Jones? Because fans were like upset when Titans traded away Draymond Jones to the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, I think Draymond Jones really wanted to kind of come to the Patriots. He saw the season we were having. At the end of the day, it was that witch over in Tennessee that essentially was denying anything going to Vrabel. So he ultimately goes to Baltimore. And I think it was just probably one of those mutual agreements where it's like, I want you on my team. You want to play for me. Let's make it happen. And quite frankly, I think it's one of the most team-friendly deals. I think both the deals that we did today were pretty team-friendly, in my opinion. But Draymond Jones for, I believe it's 3 years, $39 million. You look at some of the other edge rushers that got signed. I mean, Odafe Owe was over $120 million or $110 million for a year.
It's $100 million. If you're thinking about 120, that's Jalen Phillips to the
Carolina. Tell me how in 2023.
That is a good question. I don't know how, because that guy, Jalen Phillips, has a long history of injuries, concussions, ACLs, you name it.
That's what I'm getting at. Like 2023 tears Achilles, 2024 tears ACL, 2025 joins the Eagles and puts up 4 sacks. Oh, that's worth $120 million.
$20 million contract. I mean,
I feel like I'm on an episode of Impractical Jokers, and the Carolina Panthers are tonight's biggest loser. Like, that's, I don't know.
Speaking of losers, I was laughing while you're talking, Austin, because here's some breaking news. Per Adam Schefter, you're gonna laugh at this. Former Patriots offensive guard Cole Strange signed with the Los Angeles Chargers. 2 years, $30 million.
Strange to the Chargers? Really? They have Slater and Alt, and they sign Cole Strange.
They also have Biotish, though. But
I like Tyler Biotish, but he's a center. Or is he a center?
Yes, he is a center.
But yeah, I mean, really, Cole Strange. I mean, come on. Why was he a first-round pick?
I don't know.
And, like, pardon me. And how is he still in the NFL? I mean, how many sacks did that guy give up when he was here? I mean, Cole
the
Strange.
sacks, the injuries, just him in general.
I know.
It's
just he's a.
I'm dumbfounded how he still finds a way to end up on a roster similarly to Vidarian Blow somehow getting a 2-year deal with the Niners. Like, I'm over here.
Vidarian Low to the Niners? I mean, and plus what was it? A washed up Mike Evans. I mean,
to the 49ers.
Yeah, talk
and then
about
Sumolo. He's old, but he got a deal with the Cardinals. Like, getting a guy's not a problem. It's the deals that were sickening. Like, there's a reason. I understand why the Patriots had like a silent like free agency, but when I look at these contracts, they are worse than what I've seen with like mid-tier players. Like for example, look at what the Raiders have done. Look at what the Titans have done. It's crazy.
These shitty teams are like they're coming out smelling like roses. Yeah.
But nevertheless, I love Draymond Jones. Like, the one thing I love about him is that he can play on any side and he can go after the quarterback inside, outside. No, when I saw the highlights, some of these highlights were coming after Drake May. That's how crazy it was. The fact that he sacked Drake May twice, one with the Titans and one with the Ravens, is actually crazy. But what I love about Draymond Jones is that he has that pass rushing ability that was lacking last season. And I think that is really essential for like what this defense wants. And I think that have a guy like Terrell Williams who has done great with defensive linemen. When you talk, I think I could be wrong, but Draymond Jones, granted he was with the Seattle Seahawks, but one season with the Titans, he's doing decent. And also, not to mention, you at least have that big guy. He's not like your typical like 6'5" or 6'6", but he's like decently 6'3". He's like 250 pounds. Like your typical edge rusher, the big guy, a little more beefier, even a little on the older side. But I think he's going to be a huge asset for the defense. I could see him being next to either Milton Williams or either Christian Barmore, who, by the way, had his case dropped. That's really huge for Christian Barmore. What are your thoughts on the whole Christian Barmore saga that I think should have never been a saga?
Yeah. I mean, I have a friend. I digress. I have a friend at work who, thinks there's a possibility Christian Barmore is a worse guy than jeez. Help me out here, Steph Diggs. But yeah, I think it's for the defense, especially. It's major news that those charges got dropped, especially with Tonga going to KC, and which means you've still got Milton Williams and Christian Barmore on the center of that defensive line. And the defensive line was big for us last year. But the reason, I digress again, we couldn't stop Sam Darnold of all quarterbacks was we had, little semblance of like no pass rush. But yeah, Barmore, I think it's a big deal for the team to have him to have those charges dropped, and hopefully Vrabel gets a deal done fairly quickly.
Yeah, I agree. I'm happy with Barmore, the charges being dropped. I will say, like, a side note about, and I'm gonna branch to Stephon Diggs because he had like a similar thing. I always felt like Stephon Diggs, like, legal battle was a lot more believable, or like you could actually see him doing that just based off of prior experience and the pink bag in the offseason.
Oh, that substance.
I mean, you don't know with Diggs. Like, I love Diggs because like he's a total locker room guy. He really helped, these young receivers and building up the culture in the room. Like, I thought he was super pivotal. I preached it all last year, where it's just like I valued his off the field demeanor more than his play that he showed on the field. But I saw an article today that said the Patriots cutting Diggs really didn't have much to do with the money. It was actually because they believed he was guilty of his charges. So they wanted to get ahead of it. I don't know how true that is. I'm just saying I read a couple articles and they gave that reasoning. I was under the impression it was just we don't want to have to pay the existing years on that. We literally witnessed the regression in real time where it was like amazing to open the season. And then it was just like 20, 30-yard games. Like, it was awful. Like, after the Buffalo game, it was just like, what are we doing?
What was he in the playoffs? Like 9 catches for 120 yards or something?
I don't remember, but
really like paltry. Yeah.
Mac Hollins had more than what Steph Diggs is like. Mac Hollins played for like 2 games in like the playoffs, and Steph Diggs for like all 4. And he was barely used. He was barely getting open or making plays. And then not to mention that Mac Hollins, who is not our wide receiver 1, being our lead receiver in the last 2 games, in the final 2 games against the Broncos and the Seahawks. And as you mentioned, Andy, of how we couldn't get to Sam Darnold, Jamie, oh my gosh, give me a break, dude. We couldn't even stop K9.
Here was Steph Diggs in the playoffs, 14 catches for $110 and 1 touchdown. That's it.
Stupid.
Yeah, stupid.
Edelman would do that in like a game with 2 touchdowns.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
Edelman was good for at least you trusted him with your life in the playoffs.
It's crazy. And now with Diggs gone, you're leaving a gaping hole of like what you're gonna do at wide receiver 1, because now with Pierce off the board, you still have a couple players like Romeo Doubs. There's still Juwan Jennings, Tyquan Thornton, but that you basically need to have a plan, because it can't be just draft, which we'll get to like in a year, but in a month, excuse me. But do you think that it would have been better if we got a wide receiver? If we got a wide receiver from day one? Obviously, there's still many more days of free agency. We could get a wide receiver, Andy. But do you think that the Patriots should have gone away with a wide receiver in the first day of legal tampering?
I would have been much, much happier if we had come away with a wide receiver today. I liked, Draymond Jones and then the fullback Reggie Gilliam, who we'll get to momentarily, are cool signings. I mean, Gilliam will do a lot for the run blocking game and the run game itself, because Jack Westover was a liability last season. But yeah, I mean, we're going in. Look at Booty, Douglas, Williams, Chisholm. Those guys are all like under 6 foot. You need that 6'2", 6'3" guy you have a quarterback who can stretch the field, and you need that taller receiver to get open. I mean, people have said that about Kyle Williams. He gets open, and yes, he does if you scheme him correctly. But yeah, you do need that tall.
Yeah, tall wide receiver, and it cannot be Matt Collins.
You need a Y receiver, a Z receiver, maybe, and it cannot be Matt Collins. Absolutely
because
not.
Matt Collins cannot be your leading receiver. Like there was a reason why in the Super Bowl Matt Collins had production, because Drake May likes to throw to receivers who are like tall, and Matt Collins fit the scheme. But the problem is Matt Collins is like 30 plus years old, and so
Correct.
Now you got to reconsider. Like Alec Pierce was on the table, but the fact that we were too rich for Alec Pierce, I'm like, ugh. And when I saw the contract, I was like,
30 million? Was it 30? How?
It was like 4 years, 116 million.
That is. That's
people were like
116 or 160?
116.
That's still a lot of money. 44 per annum. 35. I don't feel like doing math right now, but yeah, that's not exactly cheap, And like I said, maybe we're old now to hope for AJ Brown, but believe that day when it comes. Yeah, I would have been. Yeah, I was disgusted to see that, he decided to stay with India. Why? And that we didn't go after a Romeo Dobbs or. There was another guy out there. You mentioned Juwan Jennings. I mean, not that I'd be crazy about him anyway.
Yeah, Juwan Jennings. I was high on Juwan Jennings back in 2024, but obviously he went back to the San Francisco 49ers. But the problem is Juwan Jennings is not like your wide receiver one. He's more like a wide receiver 3.
Yeah, he is.
That's the problem.
Right.
But let's talk about Reggie Gilliam. And no one talks about the fullback much, because there is a reason why Buffalo Bills fans, Bills Mafia, they're crying again, like they did last year when we took away Matt Collins from them. Now they're crying again because they took the guy away that helped James Cook with the run game. And so I wanted to ask you this, Austin. Like, people don't realize how crucial Reggie Gilliam is to the offense, but more important, not just the offense, but also special teams. Because I heard that special teams has been really inconsistent last season. And I think, would Reggie Gilliam not only help with the offense, but also with special teams?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think he could be – I would assume he would be on the return team, like pushing a lead block. I don't know exactly if he plays on the other side as well, where he's, going down and making the tackle. But from what I could tell from just some of the tape, like just – really physical. He attacks the secondary. So when he breaks through as a lead blocker on design runs, right, he's always looking to get the corner or the safety. And I mean, you could just watch a couple of plays where like James Cook doesn't have to do anything but hit the hole, and he freaking lays out a safety, and James Cook is gone. So if we can replicate that to, some level with Reggie, it's wraps. Like, I think Ramondre could have a career year if the plan is to keep Ramondre. I mean, I was on the camp of like, I'm okay with parting with Ramondre this year. If not, it would probably definitely be next year. And I think Henderson would feast behind that as well. And I think also having Reggie just like takes off some of the load from Henderson, because Reggie is a good pass catcher. He could come in on like obvious passing downs and just be a blocker for Drake May if we don't get any upgrades on that left side of the football. Left guard, I think, is the biggest like need right now.
Yeah, it's the biggest left guard in need. And not to mention that red zone is going to be scoring in the red zone will be improved. It's not going to be like the best, but it will be improved in a sense that Reggie Gilliam could be your guy that could be in the red zone, like if you need him to, and then have your running backs just go all into the end zone and then score touchdowns, because that game against the Bengals shows why you need some kind of fullback, because McDaniel's offensive systems runs through fullbacks. And without a fullback, and there's a reason why Jack Westover was the liability. And now there's a competition between him and Brock Lampy, because you have no idea what you're going to get out of Lampy in spite of him being a undrafted free agent last year. And so obviously he's not like your James Devlin or Jakob Johnson, but he's a little more smaller and more loose, more fluid in a sense. And I could see him being that guy that Jack Westover was supposed to be, but hopefully that could help with like scoring in the red zone, and especially we need help in of doing well in the run, because for some reason he could also do good in pass blocking, which is another thing that people may not consider when we got fullback. Fullback is like a sneaky need, but when I'm looking at the other list, boys, granted that fullback is a sneaky need, and he's the best fullback per PFF, best scores. Like I think it's like a 76 of like a passing grade, and then a 85 from like a run blocking grade. I don't know exactly, but he had like top 2 scores or top 1 scores on PFF when it comes to run blocking and pass blocking, and so yeah, and so, but that does leave us a question, because there are still needs for the Patriots. Regardless, it's the same old needs. Like we still need another edge rusher. Hell, we need a tight end. The 2 guys that I wanted, gone. Kohler, gone. Likely, gone. Otten, gone. Bellinger, gone. And then wide receiver. We all know that happened. And then left guard. Edwards, gone. Sumalu, gone. Johnson, gone. Parham is still on the board, but I get it's like day 1, but Austin, I want to ask you this, boys. Let's start with you, Austin, and then get to Andy. What would you grade day 1 of the free agency? Even though it's like just the beginning, how would you grade day 1? Just based off like whatever happened today.
I would say like not taking into account the people that we've lost or may lose that are like uncertain yet. I would say it's a B. I liked our pickups. I like Reggie. I think we've desperately needed a fullback, like a true fullback for the past couple seasons now, and especially with Josh McDaniels, who has thrived in an offense with having a fullback. And then, we needed an edge. Now, I don't know if Draymond Jones was the obvious choice. I think there's people on my list that I probably would have preferred in front of him. I probably would have preferred just bringing back Chase on if we could have. I'd be interested to see if we are still going to bring back Chase on, or if we're going to, look to the draft. I mean, the biggest thing I'm trying to like get my head around is seeing what moves we're going to make to set us up for the draft. Like that's what free agency is for. But I would say just purely based off of who we picked up today, I would just say like a B minus. Like it's solid. It's not like a pick you're sitting there like, oh, this sucks. Like both the guys we brought in are good.
Andy?
Yeah, I was gonna say C. Now I think I'm gonna put things more in the C plus range, because I heard I hardly knew who Reggie Gilliam was. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I saw the name. It's like, oh geez, we got him from the Bills. This is gonna be another, low key, another Bills player, and you said Austin. Now they're already crying out there in Western New York that they lost another, seemingly not so key guy. But yeah, he got the run game really going for the Bills last year, able to flatten out those defensive backs, and then Cook just mows his way down the field. And obviously we know between Johnson and Devlin that Josh McDaniels is a guy who loves his fullbacks. It's we've been talking about for the past year or two. It's like, bring back the fullback. Well, is the fullback obsolete in the modern NFL? Well, Reggie Gilliam showed maybe not so much. And like we've already said, Westover was a liability. We really don't know much about either Lampy or Larison. Larison was injured, basically coming in as a rookie, So with those guys being unknown quantities, it's like, yeah, that's a good pickup. And it's a good class for defensive ends and edge rushers, but getting one in free, that's not one you have to need to double or triple dip in the draft for. Get, a couple of these guys who you don't know if they're going to pan out or not. They're college kids, and we've seen guys completely fizzle we thought would work, and vice versa. So, yeah, so Draymond Jones is he's not a Vrabel guy, but he's kind of a Vrabel technique guy, if you know what I mean. He likes those kind of tall, big, but not too big guys who can get to the quarterback. And that's what Draymond Jones is. So, yeah, definitely not the D's and F's that some in the chat were giving out earlier. I did want the wide receiver. I was disappointed Tonga was let go. Otherwise, I'd probably, maybe even inch this up to a B-, but I'm going to go C+ for now.
I'm actually going to go with the C because yes, you have opportunity. Yes, we did. I led the Draymond Jones signing. I was surprised about the Gilliam signing, and I love the Gilliam signing, but Tonga, that bumped the grade down by a lot. But not to mention that you look at all of the players that are falling off the board rapidly. But deals-wise, I love the deals. You're not giving up like these ludicrous deals. Like, we gave Draymond Jones a decent amount of money, not like big money, but like 10 million, at least like 13 million at least. And then Reggie Gilliam, who is not like the most popular name, 4 million. It's like not that bad. So it's not tanking down the cap space. And obviously, unfortunately, we lost cap space because of cutting to buy. But I'm a little disappointed, however, that we did lose Tonga. We did lose. I wasn't much about Vidarian Lowe. Like, he was never a fan fave from the beginning. And then Austin Hooper, we knew he had to let him go. But now this begs me another question, because now that with Hooper gone, the tight end position, as you mentioned, Austin, is ass. So that leaves me a little worried about like what you're going to do at tight end too. And Hunter Henry is not your long-term solution. Obviously, you want to say, let's look into the draft. What are you going to be doing in the draft? That's going to be the biggest question. And more importantly, you need guys who can develop other players. Like, left guard is, I know I talked to Nelson about this. Left guard is going to be like one of those decent players, but yes, I love Tanner Kojo. We could talk about him, but left guard, it's going to be one of those like positions where we can dissect into like the draft. But more importantly, when we look into forgive me, guys, the little background noises, but what I wanted to say is that when we look into the guard position, there's a lot of guards we can get in the draft, but there are still... Sorry, guys. Can you guys take over? I have to deal with this background.
So I don't know. Basically, the draft.
Yeah.
I don't know. We have too many needs right now. I
know. We got tight end. We got wide receiver. We got left guard. Another edge rusher. Maybe probably not a linebacker. A center is on that list now without Garrett Bradbury. I mean, that's a lot of needs right there, man. We made little baby steps today. Like all three of us have said, I did want to see more. I wanted that wide receiver. I mean, the fullback wasn't on my list, but yes, that's a position Josh McDaniels has always flourished with as an offensive coordinator. So yeah, it's going to be a big waiting game. Obviously, today was only legal tampering. There's still A.J. Brown. Potentially, there's still Romeo Doubs, whom I'm not that psyched about. I don't think any tight ends are left on the board. And the tight end I really wanted.
There's a Conco,
yeah,
and Joku Goddard.
Yeah. Goddard's old. Joku's
28.
Vrabel knows Shig, which is why
he knows Njoku too.
True, yeah.
I think the biggest thing is I just would like to go into a season and not be reiterating and regurgitating the same shit that we said the season before.
Correct.
It can't be every season. It's we need alignment. We needed this. We need that. I get we have needs, but it just feels like it's the same needs every time. It's like we bring somebody in and then somebody the dude opposite of them leaves.
Yeah.
Right? Like we bring in Draymond Jones, but speculation is basically Chaseon's leaving. It's like I'd rather cut Landry and get Chaseon. Now I don't know the inner workings of the salary, and it's probably me just being a fan, get rid of him. But yeah, I mean Harold Landry, same thing as Diggs. It's opened the season and was awesome, and then hurt his knee and was a shell of himself for the entire season. It's just bring in Chaseon, have Draymond play the other side. I'm okay with that edge rush group there. Honestly, Ponder rotating in, Anthony Jennings, bro, it's an okay edge rush at that point.
Honestly, Austin, you might have been right about Tavai. The guy you wanted to let go might have actually been Landry, and he's an FOM, a friend of Mike. And I really, really don't want to be using that term. But I'd hate it if we're sitting here in October and saying, oh, geez, we let Tavai go and it should have been Landry. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs, not good. Yeah, that's not something I want to be talking about in the months to come at all. So, Darius linebacker, a potential need. I mean, it's just we can't just sit here, like you said, Austin, season after season after season. We need a lineman, we need a receiver, we need a tight end, we need a this, we need a that. It's it's for a team that made it to the Super Bowl, really.
Yeah, and it's only going to get harder because you have to imagine our right tackle in Morgan Moses is just getting older. We need a replacement for him at this point, right? So then is it you take a high tackle in next year's draft, or do you try to draft his replacement this year, or is his replacement sitting on the roster waiting for him? Mm-hmm. And obviously it's okay, I assume the plan is to move Jared Wilson to center, but by trading Bradbury, Wilson to center, okay, now you need a hole. It's it's I'm over here do we need to trade Bradbury? But I get it because they want Jared Wilson over, but it just opens another hole.
And Jared Wilson, sorry to cut you off, Austin. Jared Wilson was billed as one of the best centers in the 2025 draft.
Right, and that's why I'm hopeful. It just sucks because it's now left guard is kind of just there. Now, do they throw – was it Ben Brown that played left guard when Jared Wilson was hurt? Mm-hmm. If they throw Ben Brown there and we don't pick up anyone on the line, are we okay going into the season with a makeup of Campbell, Brown, Wilson, Onwenu, and Moses?
Moses is getting old. Dare I say, is right tackle going to be a need sooner rather than later?
It is going to be a need. And the left guard is also going to be a need because now that you traded away Garrett Bradbury to the Bears, you barely have little competition in the interior offensive lineman. Right guard, you're fine for now.
Garrett Bradbury's pretty much a pure center, though.
Exactly, and same with Ben Brown. He was also a center before he's transitioned to left guard, and I think he fits more of a left guard bill. And so I feel like you now need a proven left guard that can plug in between Campbell and Jared Wilson, and that is the way you're going to do it with the offensive line. But the problem is, you have a lot of fans that are going after Elliott Wolf and like, why aren't you getting a left guard? Why aren't you getting a wide receiver? Why aren't you getting a tight end? It's frustrating.
It is frustrating, but at the same time, free agency is not the draft. And like you've said, Dow, there's 31 other teams you're tangoing with. They're going to want some of these good guys too. And if they can make a move before you do, that's just the way it is. It's the luck of the player draw in free agency. It's where the guy wants to go. It's what, first come, first serves in terms of teams. It's just a number of things that are just, out of your control. I mean, the draft is kind of out of your control too. You can have a guy on your board. It's like, oh geez, and then the team leapfrogs you and steals them. I'm not going to call it Russian roulette because it's not, but it's a, like the game itself. It's an unknown every second, every minute, the suspense is always going to be there.
I'm so sorry, guys. Like, there's
Good.
moments I have to be muted on and off because like there's something going on behind the scenes. Like, I'm trying to be quiet as possible, but it's impossible. I have to talk over other people. But going back to those comments, like, yes, I do agree that there's 31 teams. Vikings barely made any moves, and they lost. They're about to lose Greenyard. They lost Naylor, who was like the third wide receiver behind Addison. And Jeff, let's talk about Addison for example.
Yeah, Caleb talked about Addison. Let's bring him.
Yeah, like everybody says, let's trade for Addison to be our wide receiver 1. And guess what happened? Some fan saying like, oh, we want guys without legal issues. And you know what he said? You guys are all butt cheeks. You guys are all ass. I'm like, why? Like, does it signify, excuse me, that Addison doesn't want to be with the team, doesn't want to be with the Patriots, or what? Because I feel like it's pointless to like trade for a wide receiver that has a wide variety of issues. Any of you guys want to touch on that? Because
I honestly, call me stupid. I wasn't aware of Addison having much in the way of issues. Austin, maybe you were. Something you want to put in here?
No, I mean, like, I don't care about Addison. It's like, if you're gonna get that butt hurt over a fan being like, hey, we don't mind people with criminal shit. Yeah, I get it. The fans trying to be corny or like, kind of a degenerate to Addison, but it's like, Addison's a professional. He doesn't need to be like pats or ass. Like, and then
when did he do that?
Literally today. And then he wants to act like he made another post where he's like, trusted 9, he's our salvation. It's like, bro, JJ McCarthy is not bringing you to the promised land. I can promise you that.
I know. None of us like
McCarthy did nothing last year. He's been getting injured.
McCarthy. When I heard Pat's analysts say they wanted JJ McCarthy, I was like, really? Just because he's out of Michigan? Really? Like, come on, grow a pair.
Unfortunately, that's life nowadays. You have wide receivers that can talk crap. Like, in the draft, you got to be careful of who you select in the draft because, for example, when you look at Mekhi Lemon, during his combine interviews, I heard from a scout that he bombed interviews, which begs me a little concern. Like, for a guy who has good talent, also, that player, that same with Addison, he came from USC. But when you look at Mekhi Lemon and when you look at his interviews, you can tell that doesn't take it seriously, just bombs the interviews like no tomorrow. And then look, you obviously, Vrabel wants guys who want to put team over self. Unfortunately, you have a lot of players who put self over team, and that's
was it Abdul Carter who bombed his interviews last year? There was one guy who was just like not good. No, it wasn't Carter. It was freaking Sanders, freaking Shador. Like,
oh my God.
Like, I mean, come on. Like, Cleveland, what are you doing with that twerp? Like, just because his name is Sanders doesn't. And he had one good preseason game, Austin. You remember this? I was with you at the Pats preseason game, and that Browns one. It's like, oh yeah, we should have taken that. No, we should not have taken Shador Sanders. He's a fucking head case. Get it, like, really?
You know who wanted? Do you know who also projected Shador Sanders to be in like the top 3? Freaking Mel Kiper. There's a reason why sometimes I don't trust draft analysts, because one, they always focus on the talent, but they don't focus on character. And character dropped your draft stock by a lot. Would you all agree that character would eliminate your draft stock completely? You could be dropped from top round 1 to round 2, like Keon Coleman, for example.
Character can completely plummet your draft stock. I mean, with Shador, it went round 1 to round 5. You know, and what was it? No, Kayshon Boutte, that was more injury issues. The injuries can obviously do it too.
Injuries and also gambling issues.
Correct. Yeah. But yeah, if you have a guy with like anger management issues or personality problems, it's like, yeah, it can absolutely plummet draft stock.
But okay, I think let's quickly talk about like players we can look at, and then we can call it a night. And so let's talk about like current players that are currently available. So let's start focusing on the needs for a brief moment. So like I can list them all: wide receiver, tight end, left guard, one more edge rusher if you can, and linebacker.
Linebacker or center?
Linebacker.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because you cut to buy, and now I think they're going to cut Mapu. Also, you don't know if you're bringing back Gibbons, because if Mapu is gone for good, and if Gibbons is taken by another team, you need a linebacker. It can't be just Spillane and Ellis. I'm like, when I heard
Landry, you didn't get Landry. Ugh, no.
Yeah, and not to mention that you have a lot of needs, like. And there's a lot of good players available, like Juwan Jennings, Romeo Dobbs, Njoku, Goddard, also his teammate Calcaterra, who is also the tight end for the Eagles. I think that's his name.
Calcaterra.
Yeah, Calcaterra. There, thank you. For offensive line, you still have Joel Bitonio, Dylan Parham. Out of the Raiders, you still have him. And then when it comes to defense, you still got Trey Hendrickson, surprisingly. Matt Milano, he has injury issues.
Greenlaw guy, though. I've always liked Matt Milano.
I always like him too, if he wasn't injury prone.
Correct.
And then you have Devin Lloyd. Everyone talks about, let's get Devin Lloyd. You realize, fans, that we don't have that much money. There's the thing called cap space. It's not like the MLB where they have infinite cap space and they just sign whatever to these stupid deals. Like, there is zero way we're going to get a top tier free agent. Not to mention, you have to re-sign, you have to extend Gonzo whatsoever, because next year you're going to have to extend Drake May. There's no bus, no cost, no coconuts. But you have to save money for Gonzo, and then if you can, you have to save more money for Drake May. Like, do you think, guys, that for this year, next year, that the contracts for Drake May and Christian Gonzalez will be a handicap for us, Austin?
Personally, I think there's no excuse. I don't think it's going to be a handicap. Yeah, I think it's in the back of their mind, but I mean, you look at some of the financial gymnastics that some of these teams are able to pull off to sit here and be like, oh, the Patriots have 61 million in cap space right now. Granted, I don't know what the new number looks like. That's going off of before any signings today, but 61 million, and sitting here being like, oh, we're not signing anyone because we need to extend Gonzo. It's like they'd find a way to give him a signing bonus heavy deal, or lay incentives or whatever they got to do, but they're not going to let Gonzo walk. They're not going to let Drake May walk. I mean, they could take a Drake May fifth-year option if they need to. They could take a Gonzo fifth-year option if they need to, right? So I don't like the argument of, oh, well, they're not spending because they need to save for the. It's like, no, like you'll find a way to sign your franchise players. So you need to go out there and you need to build the rest of your roster.
You realize that there's no way we're trading away Gonzo. Who would be stupid enough to trade away Gonzo for multiple picks? It's not like what happened to Sauce Gardner, what happened to Micah Parsons, what happened to just now Max Crosby. So you think you would be smart enough to trade away
Rashawn Gary.
And for Rashawn Gary, but still, I am not trading away Christian Gonzalez whatsoever. If he has a bad performance, yes. But he has been consistently good regardless of these minor injuries, let alone that shoulder injury that he had during his rookie season. I don't blame him, but oh my gosh, Trent McDuffie. That's right. Trent McDuffie to the Rams. So I'm okay with draft capital, but you don't know who you're going to get. It's like a draft lottery. There is a reason why in the hockey, in basketball, in all pro sports, draft is going to be a hit and miss.
Yeah, that's why it was like a couple of guys were saying, "Oh yeah, give up Gonzo and build your draft capital or even your cap space or what have you." I'm like, no, like after what he did in the Super Bowl, like he's the reason the Seahawks didn't hang 40 on us. Like, hello, you do not get rid of Christian Gonzalez, and I think Vrabel knows that.
Yeah, like Seahawks have some players that were not from the regime, like JSN was not part of the regime. Weatherspoon was not drafted from that regime. Charlie Cross was not drafted from that regime. But yet, the general manager who has been there for like 10 years, I think his name is Schneider, he drafted all these guys. Christian Gonzalez is an exception because obviously the regime did not draft Christian Gonzalez, but Elliot Wolf was the general manager when drafting Drake May and Christian Gonzalez.
The talk is that Wolf actually, and I think, Dow, you might have actually mentioned this originally, Belichick didn't want Gonzalez. It's like he'd fallen to the 17th pick in that 23 draft. And like Belichick of his own accord would not have taken him. It was Wolf who convinced him.
Yeah, and he wanted, and I heard that Belichick wanted Keon White. Ultimately, we did get Keon White, but I'm like, he does not fit the scheme whatsoever.
Keon White in the first round? No.
And he fell to the second round, surprisingly. But
yep.
Unfortunately, the saddest fate is that this fan base is so overwhelming. It's sickening to our stomachs. Like, we're not like these obnoxious fans of like, look at Bills Mafia. They signed only like a backup quarterback, a cornerback, D. Alford, to replace Taron Johnson, and trading away for DJ Moore, excuse me. And be satisfied, for goodness sakes.
And some of these Pats fans were saying it's like, the Bills helped their quarterback. It's like, yeah, they got him DJ Moore. Like, how old is DJ Moore? Help me, 30?
He's 29.
29. Okay, so let me just double check. DJ Moore,
28 or 29, around that range.
DJ Moore is, I can't even type right now. DJ Moore is an NFL commentator, blah, blah, blah. DJ Moore was born in 1997. This will be his 29th year, and this will be his 29-year-old year. So no spring chicken for a wide receiver, but I mean, he's middle-aged, I'd say, for a wide receiver. But I mean, I don't think he's not a number one. I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah, he's not a wide receiver one. He barely eclipsed 1K yards 2 seasons ago. Not to mention that the only reason they would get him is because Joe Brady was the offensive coordinator during the time when DJ Moore was with the Carolina Panthers. But I digress. What's even more funny is that Dolphins barely did anything, let alone getting a quarterback. Like, you did nothing. But
and
that's
Tua
all.
to the Falcons. I mean, Tua. And some guy on Good Morning Football was like, "Oh yeah, Tua could still thrive with the right, coaching staff, or somebody who coaches to his talents." I'm like, really, Tua turned the ball over, spew I mean, like, really, what do you see in him? He only had those good seasons in 22 and 23 because of his wide receivers. He had Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and he had Jalen Waddle last year, and he had some good games, but still,
They were carried by A-Chain, not to mention.
Correct. Yep, that too.
Jets, they made splashes, all right, only on defense, but they barely made, and they made no offensive move. So I'm not upset. Like, some of these players, they're like mid, and their contracts are like But so the Patriots and the Bills will be competing for the number 1 seed in the division, as always. It's not the Dolphins, and it's not the Jets. It will either be us and the Bills.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't see us like having like a better season like we had last season, but hopefully we made progress.
You can't ask for better. 14-3. That was better than any of us thought.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely see the playoffs again, but not 14-3.
Yes, Luke. He's a Falcon.
To what a Falcons, Luke. Yeah.
Two lefty quarterbacks. Talk about crazy. Yep, he was signing for you ago. But I think that's going to be it for today's show. Sorry, guys, for a little bit mute here and there because unfortunately I have some background noise that is like louder than my voice. So it's like I don't want to like ellipse my voice, but it is what it is. Hopefully that we make more improvements when it comes to like free agency. Obviously, we got one more day of legal tampering and then like all morning of legal tampering on Wednesday. So we still got more time. This is just day 1. So fans are overreacting over nothing, giving them bad grades, and obviously calling us the biggest losers of free agency and calling the Chiefs the biggest winners because of K9, because of Tonga. But at the end of the day, we still got more time. We still have a lot of cap space left. So I still have my trust in the front office. And
that pass catching core in Kansas City still is, I mean, a washed up Kelsey. Your wide receivers, you've got Rice and Thornton. I can't even, I honestly can't even think of who those Chiefs receivers are right now. Like, your only number 1 guy on that offense is going to be K9.
It's going to be K9 whatsoever. Yeah. But they only have Rashee Rice.
Rashee Rice, thank you.
Yeah, and Royals, who is the rookie out of Utah. Xavier Worthy.
Yep.
I think, and not Juju. I don't know if Juju Smith-Schuster's a free agent, but I digress. But that's going to be it for today's episode. We'll be back. I don't know when exactly. It will depend on like when we do another recap of free agencies. Maybe get some updates like for Friday. So like, okay. I'm not going to take part of this. Like, I could tell hey, we still have Matt Collins. We still have a young core wide receiver. I don't know if you're a Bills fan or whatnot, but is that going to be enough to help you carry Josh Allen? I don't know. This is your only season where Josh Allen has one more year for Josh Allen, and if you can't make the Super Bowl, you got to hang it up. Brandon Beane. Ugh.
Correct.
But that's going to be it for today's show. If you haven't already, please smash the like button, hit subscribe, and as always, ladies and gentlemen, let's go Pats.
Go Pats.